This new great race was to be run over 2 days, 6 laps each day of a 64-mile circuit near Le Mans in central France. At 769 miles, the first Grand Prix was more than twice as long as any previous circuit race. 12 manufacturer teams entered and 32 cars would start. Each team was given a common number with suffix letters to identify each driver. As the Hotchkiss team drives to the weigh-in, our intrepid cameraman pioneers the car-to-car shot. These three 16-litre lightweights are led by Hubert Leblanc in 12A, enjoying a joust with his American amateur teammate Elliott Shepherd. 9 French teams face 2 Italian and 1 German. 2B is Felice Nazzaro's 16-litre Fiat, and 2A, Vincenzo Lancia's similar car. Camille Janazzi's 14.4-litre Mercedes heads the German challenge. Few wealthy aristocrats still drive, as works testers are now used instead. Some see this use of tradesmen as the end of motor racing as a sport. The Lorraine Dietrichs, like Rougier's, have the biggest engines in the race, 18.3 litres, but power to weight will be the crucial factor. The big Hotchkiss has a 4-cylinder engine in a flimsy chassis with wire-spoked wheels. Edmond's Renault is just 12.9 litres, but these cars use a secret weapon in new Michelin wooden-spoked rear wheels with quick detachable rims to speed tyre changing. Only Renault, Fiat and 2 of the Clément Béards will race with them. A photo call was held in the paddock. Notice the rear wheels of Claude Richet's Renault, its bolt-on detachable rims clearly visible. The husky Lorraine Dietrichs retain standard fixed-rim wooden wheels. Punctured tyres would have to be cut off with knives before new inner tubes and tyres could be fitted and then inflated at the roadside, a good 10 or 15 minutes work. With the Michelin rims, a tyre change would take only 2 to 4 minutes, with tyres ready mounted and inflated. At the weigh-in, they even had to remove the seat cushions to get below the 1-ton maximum weight limit. The strong Renault team lines up, Edmond the centre of attention, followed by the team leader, works tester Ferenc Sis. He has tremendous racing experience, having been riding mechanic in earlier days to Louis Renault himself. Pre-race favourite seems to be the 12.8-litre Clément Béard, driven by the manufacturer's daring young son Albert Clément, a very fast and promising driver. These are the Braziers. 5A is Paul Barras, 5B Paul Barillier, and 5C Pierry. Before the 6 a.m. start, the groundsman marks out the pitch. First away is Fernand Gabriel, legendary winner of the epic Paris-Madrid. Vincenzo Lancia's Fiat spearheads Italy's challenge. Ferenc Sis gets away in the Renault, with riding mechanic Marteau alongside. Paul Barras will set fastest lap of the entire race, first time round. He's followed by Mercedes and Gobron-Brillet. Albert Clément's mechanic climbs aboard. Crash helmets are a rare sight, and Albert smokes the clutch. Nazzaro goes off in the second Fiat. Out on the course, the cars trail dust and smoke. The first Grand Prix is on. Edmond's Renault gives chase. Speeds are high on both country road and village street. Dr. Aldo Weilschot's Fiat stalls at the start line, but his mechanic quickly restarts it. They will complete this opening lap 4th, behind Barras' Brazier and Duret's Lorraine 2nd, with Sis 3rd in the Renault. George Heath's Panhard thunders through the centre of Homenaje. One of the fast braziers chases Heath under the temporary footbridge in Homenaje village. Over 40 miles of wooden palisades and fencing have been erected to control spectators. Two village centres at Saint-Calais and Vibray have been avoided by wooden planked bypass roads. But the planks prove very slippery with oil and sap, and more than one will overshoot the bypass entries. That's Elliot Shepherd in his Hotchkiss. He overshoots, reverses, and races on. Heath in the Panhard again. These cars are reaching 90 to 95 miles an hour on the straights, and their pace under the scorching sun is just killing tyres. The braziers, although apparently the fastest cars in the race, suffer tyre delays. On the third lap, Barra loses 17 minutes through slow tyre changing. Cisse takes the lead, carefully pacing his Renault. Barillier's brazier lies second. Leblanc is beached at Homenaje. Lancia's Fiat stops at his service depot. Unaided, he and his riding mechanic have to change their car's radiator. Like all the components on these monstrous racing cars, it's enormously heavy. Pierre de Cater in his 120 horsepower Itala. Cisse's Renault leads the last 4 laps on this opening day. Leblanc, after 4 hours rebuilding his broken wheel using spokes from Saleron's sister car crashed nearby, is able to rejoin at last. The intense sun is blazing down, and dust poses a real problem. While the racers sweat, some take lunch. Hanging in the hot sun, the stinging dust carries tar and binding chemicals, penetrating the racers' eyes. Rougier of Lorraine, Edmond of Renault, Janazzi of Mercedes, and his replacement Burton all suffer terribly. Cisse brings the leading Renault in after 5 3/4 hours torture. Young Albert Clément is second, 26 minutes behind, but 15 minutes ahead of Nazzaro's third-placed Fiat. The end of day 1. After a night under guard in Parc Fermé, the competing cars are horse-drawn to the start and are sent off in the order they'd finished the opening day. Our cameraman wasn't early enough to film Cisse's start at 5:45, or Clément's a full 26 minutes later. Starting times were based on the previous day's results, and last man Rougier would have to wait 2.5 hours after Cisse. Very strong men crank the engines. Mario rejoins for Mercedes. The race has become a close fight between Cisse, Nazzaro in a Fiat, and Albert Clément. The tarred road is broken up, and the tyres are melting in the heat. Many drivers have retired. For 4 laps, Clément holds a threatening second place. But alone among his father's team, Albert Clément isn't using the Michelin quick-change wheel rims. He and mechanic Alesi lose too much time changing punctured tyres. Cisse and mechanic Marteau flash through their tyre changes. Over the 2 days, they will change 19 tyres, yet lose less than 1.5 hours, the time it takes Clément to change 5 or 6. Nazzaro's Fiat has climbed into second place. Clément goes back into third. The braziers are still charging. Rigoli's Gobron passes Shepherd's stranded 3-wheeled Hotchkiss. The American is out. Having started so early, Cisse lapped 11 rivals still waiting to start as he completed the second day's opening lap. And next time he crossed the line, the slowest 4 would still be waiting there, twiddling their thumbs. He had led throughout in his fast Renault, and when a spring broke on lap 11, he nursed his car around the crucial final lap as it was. But in the 64 miles, he only lost 6 minutes, and it's Nazzaro's Fiat which finishes second with Albert Clément third. So the great French-domiciled Hungarian Ferenc Sis passed into history as the first hired hand to win the greatest race of the year. Motor racing was no longer just for wealthy amateurs. The 1906 French Grand Prix had opened a new chapter in motor racing history.